Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and if you're new to investing or just want to get started, you need to know about these 3 basic ideas that are going to make you more money and also lower the amount of risk that you actually take in this video. Now, by the way, in this video, I'll tell you exactly my portfolio, what I invest into, and all those things, but the core foundation is teaching you guys those 3 basics to help you make more money in the long term, but also avoid a lot of risk. And by the way, investing is very important, okay? For the past, for example, when I was in college, the whole goal was, well, I have a job in college, 30 hours, $8 an hour. Back then was minimum wage. Also a job at the Gap, 20 hours a week. Okay, great, $10 an hour. Also a side business to make me extra income. And then lastly, my YouTube stuff. And then don't forget about college, right? But I realized one thing. Tommy, the only way you make money right now is basically if everything is okay with you. If you get sick, you have an accident, God forbid, then you cannot make any money. And that's when I found out basically, hey, investing money is going to be very important because basically that money is going to be passive. However, I knew very early on that investing, although it was very easy to do, it was not simple to actually understand. It's easy, for example, to grab a penny and put it into an investment, but it's not easy to say, hey, I'll put this penny here and then get 2 pennies tomorrow or whatever it is, okay? That's not that easy. So the goal is these 3 basics are going to make sure that whatever money you put in there, for example, you have 1 penny, you can turn it into 2 pennies. That's the entire goal, okay? I could use, for example, 10,000 as an analogy, but what's the point? Pennies do the job also. If you guys are new here, I post videos every single day, so make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And on top of that, also destroy the like button. Keep in mind also, this portfolio, I've been using it for the past almost 3 to 4 years, all right? So it's not a brand new one. It's been here for a while. Comment down below also and let me know exactly what's your goal with investing. Is it passive income? Is it retirement? Is it to have a big chunk of income for your future, kids or whatever? Comment down below, let me know. Now, the very first basic idea I want to break down here is going to be diversification. Now this right here, you probably heard before in the past, but some people make it seem like, hey, the only way to do this is basically if you have a PhD in finance. The answer is no, it is very simple. What does it mean, Tommy? It means basically your goal is to spread your money into different places. That is what diversification basically means, just to spread your money around different investments. That way, for example, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Because what happens, right? If I put all these eggs in one basket and that basket falls down, what happens is they crack. But if I put 1 egg here, 1 egg here, if this falls down, it's okay. I still have this right here, okay? That's the whole goal. So it's not about, for example, grabbing all your money and putting it, for example, into 1 stock or 1 market. It's about saying, hey, I'm gonna spread a little of this money around. That way, I have less risk to actually carry forth. So, for example, guys, I'll tell you the story about this guy from a very long time ago, okay? And his name is Isaac Newton, the guy that discovered gravity. And by the way, he doesn't want anyone to know this, but in reality, I'll tell it to you anyways. And the idea was that back in the 1700s, there was a big investment back then, It was the South Sea. And he grabbed the equivalent of, in today's money, around not 10,000, but around $2 million. He grabbed that money and invested it into the South Sea investments. What happened was he made a lot of money, but then all of a sudden, he basically lost almost every single dollar. And that's the concept. When you put all your eggs in one basket, be prepared to say, hey, if I lose all of this, am I going to be okay? That's the idea. But if you said, hey, I'll put some here, some here, some here, some here, if he lost 1 investment, his other 3 investments would still be here. That's the goal. Now, I want to show you guys exactly how I put this into action and how I go ahead and diversify my portfolio. Now, this right here, guys, is my phone. I can swipe right, I can swipe left. It's my phone. Now, the app I use to invest is called M1 Finance. I use it for some reasons that I'll tell you later on. Now, the core idea, this right here is my portfolio, where I have almost 250K actually invested. However, diversification. How do you diversify here, Tommy? The answer is, well, guys, I invest into 7 different ETFs, and every ETF is in a different sector of the market. That way, if one crashes, I'm gonna be fine. If one is going up massively, but one is crashing also, I'm gonna be fine also. What you want is to have balance here. Now this portfolio right here was not created by me, but actually by Harry Makowitz. Now this guy right here won a Nobel Prize back in 1989, and he is worth around $739 million. So again, this theory of the way I manage portfolio is not based on, hey, it's just Tommy's way, but more based on someone that's been very successful about what he does. Now this right here is not the only portfolio you can actually use, but also, for example, if I click here, research, I click here where it says my pies, which should be the real expert pies, by the way. You have, for example, the aggressive one, which is basically a portfolio just based on just stocks, okay? Just stock ETFs right here, and the ratios are right here also. For example, the one I use is basically moderately aggressive, meaning I want to do like 80% ETFs into stocks and then 20% ETF into bonds, because basically I don't want to carry that much risk. But here you have my own right here, which is basically 7 ETFs. Now, by the way, if you want to copy this one right here, feel free, link down below to M1 Finance. And when you sign up, you get 30 bucks, I think, but you also get to copy exactly what I invest into for the past 3.5 years. On top of that, the last one is called the conservative one. Now this one has, for example, 80% into bonds, which is basically very low risk, but also very low return. You should also know basically the more risk you take, the more money you make. But there should be a balance, that way you don't lose all your money. And then the other 20% is going to be into stock ETFs. But overall, this right here is for when you're older and have a lot of money and already won the game of investing. The one I use, moderately aggressive, is for me because basically I don't want to take that much risk. But if you're more aggressive, you could also use that one. Again, link down below. When you sign up, you get to see my portfolio and what I invest into. But overall, the main idea is I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. And that's why I invest the way I invest. And that's why you should invest into different things. That way, when one thing crashes, you'll be okay. If you want to copy this, again, link is going to be down below. Now, the second basic idea is going to be rebalancing. Now, this right here, I'm not a big fan of because basically as an investor, long-term investor, I never really like selling my investments. It's just not what I like to do. You get taxed like crazy. On top of it, you get to miss out on incredible gains in the future through compound interest. Now, rebalancing though is going to be the only time when selling is actually going to benefit you in the long term, usually, okay? Now, what is rebalancing, Tommy? Well, as I showed you guys, okay, in my entire portfolio, you have a balance. So some things have, for example, 38% invested, some things have 10% invested, and so on and so on. However, though, the idea is that the market is not perfect. So sometimes it's gonna go up, sometimes it's going to go down. So the balance of portfolio is usually going to be out of whack. So you want to maintain it. Now, for example, if the market is up crazy in one sector, for example, the stock sector, well, that means basically the money you have into stocks in your portfolio is going to be going up and up and up. Maybe the money you have in bonds is going to be like more neutral and down, which means you go from this, bonds here, stocks here. So now, for example, stocks are up here and then bonds stay down here. So what happens is in finance, we call this, for example, overweight, because basically this has more money than it should have. And this right here is actually underweight because now it becomes a smaller part of your portfolio than it actually should. So what do you do here? In order to rebalance, you have two options here. You can either say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and sell the overweight ones, use this money to buy the underweight ones, and basically say, hey, this goes down and this stays right here. Now everything is going to be balanced all over again. Now, keep in mind, guys, okay, you don't have to be crazy about this. It means you don't have to sell every time everything is going out of whack. The answer is no. You only have to do this, for example, every 12 to 18 months, and that is going to be it, okay? So, for example, in my entire portfolio right here, as you guys can see, let me click here to my actual portfolio, my investments. As you can see right here, although I have a target of 38% here, is actually 40%, which basically means this investment right here is actually overweight. Now, the advice would be, hey, Tommy, sell this and then buy some bonds. But in reality, I'm going to wait 18 months to do that because that way I don't get hit with crazy tax, because basically I wait for long-term capital gains tax, okay? That's also a big thing. Now, the cool thing is with M1 Finance, okay, if I click where it says manage portfolio, and I click right here, rebalance, it will do everything for me automatically and put everything back to normal. So in 18 months, I only have to click a button and then boom, everything is back to normal. And that is what I love about this app. It is very, very long-term investor friendly. That's why I use it, okay? But remember, rebalancing only 12 to 18 months. Why? Because things get out of whack and you want to maintain it. If you say, well, Tommy, I want to keep my stocks all the way up, I don't want to sell. The answer is nothing can stay up forever. So when it crashes, you will have a problem. So that's why you want to keep it balanced, okay? So even though I make a lot of money here with the stocks, I still keep a proper balance because basically when it does crash, like it did, for example, back in March, I can say, hey, I'm not going to lose all of that money. That's the core idea there. Now, number 3, guys, the third basic idea you need to know is basically called dollar cost average. When I first heard of it, I instantly got confused. I did not understand it. However, most things in finance, the very good ideas, are going to be simple, although they sound complicated. What does it mean? The entire goal with dollar cost average is trying to buy your investments at an average price. So basically, that way you don't buy way too high and all that stuff, okay? That is it. So how do you do this? The answer is, well, as we know, stocks go up, they go down. It's just how investments works. However, how do you make sure you're not buying way too high? Or for example, because you can't predict it, so basically you can't always buy too low, okay? That's the idea. Although that would be optimal. Always buy low, always sell high, right? However, it's not always possible. So how do you make sure you buy at an average price? The answer is, well, you don't buy only when the market is up or when it's down. The answer is you buy all the time. So if I spend the entire year investing at the same time every single month or every single week, the same amount of money, what happens is at the end of the year, I'm going to buy for the average price of that year. That way, I'm not, for example, buying when the market is only too high. Now, I'll tell you guys this story here. I have a friend. His name is Thomas. And Thomas is basically thinking he's a great investor. But in reality, he's not. Here's why. Because basically, Thomas only invests when the market is high. So right now, he's investing a lot of money. But back in March, when the market was down, he got scared and said, hey, I'm not going to buy right now because basically the market is too low. That's not good. It's scary. However, Thomas forgets that basically, well, if I only buy when it's up, then what happens when it stays down for a very long time? That means basically, I'm going to stay at the game for a very long time. Now, 1929, the stock market crashed, and it took around 20 to 25 years to fully recover. Meaning, a recovery can take a very long time, and you don't want to set the market for that long. So, by the way, Thomas is my alter ego. When the market is up, I want to invest more, obviously. When it's down, I get scared. However, by doing dollar cost average, I remove all that stuff because basically I invest the same amount of money every single week, okay? That way I buy high and also low, so I get the average price, and I don't have to worry about my emotions getting in the way because basically it's also automated. Now over here, guys, in M1 Finance, I'll show you exactly this, okay? They have a feature. It's called automatic transfers. So right here, guys, okay, in my rules, I used to invest $4,500, but now I'm investing, for example, into my retirement funds with Vanguard. So basically, I don't have to invest that much here. So now, for example, every single week, I go ahead and invest $70 every single week, every single Monday. For you, it might be, for example, once a month or bi-weekly. But the goal is invest the same amount. That way you get the average price. That way it keeps growing and growing and growing, but that way you're good to go. Now, if you do all 3 of these rules in combination, what happens is this, guys, okay? You're going to be diversified, safer. Rebalancing means also, for example, when the market is high, you sell those investments, you're always going to sell high and also always buy low. So that's also going to help you a lot. And then lastly, dollar cost average, you keep buying at an average price. That way you don't miss out on the long-term gains. But those 3 basics right there are going to help you out a ton when it comes to investing. And if you get M1 Finance, for example, by the way, I'm not sponsored by them, but I like them a lot and I use them every single day. Use M1 Finance, it makes everything a lot more simple. However, if you have, for example, a retirement account with Fidelity or Vanguard, they don't have these features right now. So you want to do this manually, okay? So do that manually if you can and if you actually want to. But M1 Finance makes it, for example, a lot more easier and that's why I use them. Everything is just a button. Diversification, done. Okay, rebalancing, done. One button. Automatic transfers, also done very easily, automatically, every single time I set it to. Okay, so this way everything's just done a lot faster, also a lot better. That's the idea there. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Comment down below and let me know, did this video make sense? Did it help you? And if it did not, if you have questions, please comment down below and let me help you with your questions. But also, if you want to call me and talk to me one-on-one, well, the answer is join me on my third channel called Ask TommyBryson, where I take calls. However, though, it's for 30 minutes and the spots are getting filled up, so get in while you still can. Link down below, subscribe over there to that channel, and schedule an appointment today as fast as possible, because again, it is getting filled up, okay, guys? And as always, also, if you want to join me on Instagram and DM me, well, here's my Instagram right here at TommyBryson. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. And lastly, if you want to watch a full guide to what I invest into and why I invest the way I invest, here's that video right here, and click my face right here. See you guys tomorrow, and as always, peace.